Hello, health seekers! I am super stoked to finally be making this video today for all of you out there that have been doing low carb for a while. Maybe you know what ketosis is. Perhaps you're following the plan in The Keto Beginning, my book and meal plan, a complete guidebook to introducing yourself to ketosis. And maybe you're done the first couple of weeks. Perhaps you're done 30 days and you're thinking, okay, now what? I've been in ketosis and using nutritional ketosis with whole foods for the last 6 months. And so I've gone through a lot of different things and had to kind of hack my way through things that I never learned in school and using my education as a basis for discovering different things about ketogenic living. First off, I want to tell you that if you've finished the program in The Keto Beginning in my book, it's time to play and start to understand what your body's all about and what your limits are. First to that is weighing yourself. The best time at any time is to weigh yourself in the morning. So, if you're like me and you had your natural calm before bed, because I always have at least 2 servings of natural calm before bed, I always have to go to the bathroom in the morning. So go to the bathroom, weigh yourself, get on with your day. When to measure ketosis. So there's a couple of ways to measure, and I've talked about this in The Keto Beginning. Basically, there's urine strips, blood strips, and breath strip. The best time to take your number, I find, is in the morning. Once you get used to feeling what it's like, you don't really need to measure, and you're still benefiting from a low-carb eating style, even though maybe your number is 0.2 or 0.7. If you're eating low-carb and feeling awesome, then you're going to go through waves where you're in ketosis, you're out of ketosis, and that's totally fine. Don't force yourself to eat. I get asked this question all the time. I've reached the end of my day, I'm not hungry, but my ratios are all messed up. Don't worry about it. You did your best. Move on. If you are starving, if you're really hungry, don't not eat because you aren't in your plan, especially for women. It's super important for our bodies to feel like we're nourished and safe. So this goes into a lot of infertility issues and calorie restriction, even with that low-fat eating style that many of us were accustomed to before doing this. The more at risk your body feels, the less likely it's going to be okay with carrying a child. If you're sending the message to your body saying, not enough calories, your body's thinking fight or flight, fight or flight. It is not safe to have a child here. Therefore, we're not going to produce enough hormones. We're not going to allow a pregnancy to take place. And even though you may not want to be pregnant, maybe you've had 5 kids and you're done, or maybe you're 20 and that's not even a thing for you, making sure that your fertility is healthy regardless of where you are in your life is really, really important. So making sure that you're eating enough calories or just enough energy. I hate that C word, calories, yuck. You want to make sure that you're eating enough, that you're satiated, so that your body doesn't get that response like, oh my gosh, we're starving, we shouldn't be producing hormones. Another piece to this is intermittent fasting. So there are a couple forms and I explain them in The Keto Beginning. I'm finding that more and more of my women clients have benefits with intermittent fasting when they do not count their blended coffee as being part of their eating window. The reason we can do that is because if that blended coffee or tea is primarily fat-based, now we're talking about less than 2 to 3 grams of carbohydrates in that blended coffee, so maybe you add just a touch of coconut milk, that should keep you in ketosis. Or protein, if you add around upwards of 20 grams of protein, for instance collagen, which I love, having 1 to 2 tablespoons of collagen in that blended coffee will continue your intermittent fast, will keep you in ketosis longer, and it sends a signal to your body saying, it's okay, it is safe, continue creating hormones, continue being awesome, there's lots of fuel here, but we're going to continue fat burning through ketosis. What it also does is send a message to your adrenals saying everything is good. So if you're finding that while you're intermittent fasting, you're starting to get a little bit anxious and nervous and a little bit stressed, that's probably because your adrenals are getting the message saying that things are not safe. So including those blended coffees, primarily fat-based, will help with that. because you're using your adrenals and the function of your adrenals to maintain ketosis, you're also using your liver to maintain ketosis throughout your intermittent fasting experience. Even if you are having that blended coffee, it's super important to make sure that your liver and adrenals are healthy before you start intermittent fasting. If you lack sleep, you're always exhausted, maybe you have psychological imbalances, or you're working out a whole bunch, and there's a lot of stress happening in your life, it's best to fix those areas before you intermittent fast. As I mentioned in the keto beginning, something that's very helpful for your adrenals and your overall health is Himalayan rock salt. So if you use Himalayan rock salt in addition to a high-fat, low-carb eating style with moderate protein, your body should naturally heal itself. Another question I get asked is hair loss. If you are not eating enough carbohydrates, you will lose your hair. Just make sure you're eating enough carbohydrates. Around 50 to 75 carbohydrates per day allows me to keep my gorgeous hair and nice and shiny and awesome, and also stay in ketosis most of the time. Inability to sleep. Here's another low carbohydrate issue. You want to make sure that you have enough glucose in your body that your body can still have access to it. If it does not, cortisol increases, which breaks down your muscle to release some of the glucose that's stored in your actual muscle tissue, because protein can also increase your glucose levels. So what happens is when cortisol increases to break down this muscle to then get the glucose that it's missing from the diet, your cortisol levels are increased, therefore you're not sleeping. So the best approach to this is just make sure that you're eating enough carbohydrates. Dry eyes, skin, and nails. Also, make sure you're eating enough carbohydrates. Healthy gut bacteria. This is a really cool one. Probiotics for a lot of people, as well as myself, just don't work. Something that I've been playing around with is using polyphenols to increase my healthy bacteria. So that will be things like high quality, good, mold-free coffee. Blueberries are another good one. I usually have those at night. And chocolate, unsweetened chocolate, also has polyphenols. And you can also play around with resistant starches. I've been using sweet rice flour. Make sure that it's sweet rice flour and nothing else. Specific forms of potato starch also have resistant starch, as well as plantain flour and green banana flour. These have starches in them that go straight to the gut to help build up healthy bacteria. And one last tip for building healthy bacteria and also having beautiful hair, skin, nails, beauty, awesome, is collagen, grass-fed collagen. And the cool thing is that collagen doesn't clump up together like gelatin, which means you can put it in practically everything and you don't even taste it. Carb Up Days. So in the keto beginning, I start talking about cyclical ketosis. I really feel like this approach to cyclical ketosis, where you're moving in and out and in and out, is really helpful for your body, especially if you're like me and trying to boost your hormones throughout this whole experience and really get that healthy body that we're all after. I've tried 2 different types of approaches. One is every 7 days, I eat 1 gram of carbohydrate for every 1 pound that I weigh. So it usually ranges between, I start around 130 grams to upwards of 150 grams. All healthy carbohydrates, talking about like extra guacamole, avocados, sweet potatoes, roasted vegetables, those sorts of things, more kale, maybe a smoothie with a bunch of greens in it. And so we're talking like healthy carbohydrates, not packing in the sugar. The second approach to Carb Up Days, or that cyclical practice of ketosis, is going on a protein fast. So this is actually where you're eating that same amount of carbohydrates. So for me, it would be like 130 to 150 grams of carbohydrates in a day, still tons of fat, but no protein, less than 5% protein. And so what this does, it helps increase autophagy, which is when the cells in your body help push proteins out of it for a cleanse. And you really feel like you're cleansing. The last couple of ones that I did where I wasn't eating a lot of protein, I By the end of the day, I had a major headache, and by the next day, it felt like I had drank 2 bottles of wine. It's 2 different approaches. One is you just increase your carbohydrates. Naturally, you're going to be eating more. This is a really good option if you have to do a major workout the next day. And the second approach I found is more of a detox. So this is, every 7 days you are eating less protein, a lot more carbohydrates, same amount as the other option, and tons of fats. 2 very different ways of doing it. I don't want to say which one I prefer because they're both very different and kind of do different things. I think for a health standpoint and where I'm trying to go, I'm going to continue to do protein fasting for a little while and see how that goes. But I definitely wanted to introduce you all to it so that you could test it for yourself and perhaps tell me which one that you like most. And I will definitely be helping all of you along as I go by continuing to share resources and guides and everything. And if you don't have a copy of my book, The Keto Beginning, you can get it on my website. I'll include the link below this video. And if you have it, thank you so much for supporting my work and playing around with this eating style with me and really learning about your body. And just I encourage you to, if things don't feel right, play. Just continue playing and seeing what works for you, what doesn't, and in the end you'll feel so much better because I know that I do. I've never felt this good in my life. So yeah, I hope that helps, and I'll see you around. Bye.